Hi guys, welcome back. You're listening to the Home Staging Show podcast, and this is Season 2, Episode 4. If this is the first episode that you're listening to, this show is all about learning how to create a beautiful home, whether it's for sale or for living. Today's episode is sponsored by EcoJo, the eco-friendly St. Joseph statue home selling kit. In real estate, there's a tradition to pray and bury St. Joseph statues in your yard for good luck in selling your home. And we had designed and made an eco-friendly one that is made with 100% clay. You can find our EcoJo products in our shop at www.stagedformore.com or ecojokits.com, ECOJOEKITS.com. If you're a home stager or home design professional listening to the show, don't forget the registration for our November Napa Valley retreat is closing. You can find more information on our website as well, just by going to stagedmore.com/ASR2015. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. I'm currently working on our Halloween special episode, which are interviews with home stagers and homeowners and real estate agents about their personal experiences of haunted houses. It's a little bit crazy that it is already October. I just love this season changing, the leaves changing colors and all that good stuff. The air is changing. I just love this time of year because the holidays will be just around the corner. And it will be a great time to restore and recharge and get ready for the new year. On today's show, I'm interviewing a fashion and wardrobe stylist, Rayne Parvis. The reason why I'm bringing a fashion stylist on the show is that I really believe that styling principles are interchangeable. How you approach styling your home will also translate into styling yourself, how you put patterns and colors together, and all that good stuff. She also has written a book, which I thought was very interesting. She had really great things to say about getting from drab to fab. And I also think it's going to be interesting to get the perspective of other discipline. So I hope you enjoy the episode and learn a few new tricks that you can use in your daily life.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Rayne. How are you?
Good. How do I sound?
You sound amazing.
Oh, good.
I love your voice already.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
So I'm really excited to have you on the show today because I always want to interview someone who knows how to style in terms of wardrobe. Because I always feel like styling, it's very interchangeable. Like how you would approach styling for, wardrobe. It's actually a lot of them can translate into the home as well. And it's so exciting that you offer a wide variety of services. Like I've seen that you have style people for television, which I think is very glamorous and exciting. And then you help people with editing their closet as well and figure out their personal style. And so I think it's a very cool opportunity to have you on the show to talk about styling.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, wait, are we recording right now? Did we start?
Yeah, we are recording right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go.
I can edit out this part, so no worries.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So thanks again for coming on the interview. I really appreciate it. So do you want to start up by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you get into your line of work?
Sure, no problem. So I started out as a fit model probably back when I was 22, which is about, 10, 13, 14 years ago. And there is where I really learned to pay attention to the fit. So I would help the designers fit the garment before it actually went in production. So that is where I really started to train my eye. Is it itchy? Is all the body parts pulled in? How does the fabric feel? And then from there, I was a stand-up comedian from 2006 to 2009, and I absolutely loved it. But again, I used my style before I even said my first joke, people would laugh at me because I learned how to use my style to make people laugh.
Hmm.
So even when you're 20 and let's say, you want to go to a bar and get a complimentary drink from somebody, you're going to dress a certain way, or you're looking for a date or a job. So I really started to pay attention to all these things. And then when I was looking for a husband, and which I'm sure a lot of women have done, I was part of matchmaking agencies, and every time they set me up with somebody, it was just like their style had not been updated since 1985, and I just couldn't tweak some things and get past a little bit of things. So that is actually how I started my business, was going to all the top matchmaking agencies in Los Angeles and letting me, and then asking them if I could then style their frumpy clients so they don't have to worry about what to wear. They already know that they look great and they have the confidence, so then they can just kind of focus on themselves.
That's amazing. I probably need you.
Are
I'm
you
one of those
married?
frumpy women, I think.
No, I'm
That's
looking
really
at a
funny.
picture of you. You look great. I love your glasses.
Oh, thank you. They're Warby Parker, actually. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I have wore contacts for many, many years, but I think in the recent years, I'm just like, you know what? If I can shave 5 minutes getting ready in the morning, so be it.
Right.
And also my work is not very glamorous, even though I think most people think so. From watching television about, shows about home staging, actually we spend a lot of time in like yoga pants and dirty clothes,
Mm-hmm.
moving furniture and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not as important of what I look like. It's more important for what my client's house looks like. So
Right, but you still kind of it's so funny. So when I was doing a little bit of reading up on home staging and how to do it, I kind of realized that there is a correlation between your personal style and your wardrobe and then how you would stage a house. And this is kind of like, you wouldn't stage an old Victorian home and throw a bunch of modern furniture in there, would you?
no, I wouldn't. Usually for Victorian, which is a lot of that in San Francisco, it's probably more transitional. Like we will have more traditional details and stuff like that. Um, it won't be like super contemporary, like kind of current barrel kind of look. It'll be more like Pottery Barn kind of look. That's what people respond to pretty well, at least in the Bay Area. So yeah, you do have to kind of take the home environment into consideration. And that's why also I'm pretty excited to interview you because I just feel like there's so much correlation about how people dress and present themselves, like finding their personal style, and that can really translate into everything that they do. And I've said that
Right.
so many times on my own blog about this. When you see people really put together, usually their house is really put together too, you know? So a lot of that does come across many different aspects of people's lives. But I don't think most people realize that. They think it's very compartmentalized.
No, and I wanted to kind of piggyback on what you stated earlier, was that home staging isn't a very glamorous job, but you also have to realize that either, first of all, either as a fashion industry, oh my gosh, my nails are usually ripped to shreds just from shopping and putting up the wardrobe rack and going through people's closets.
Hmm.
And yes, you see the final product, which is maybe for some on the red carpet, or you see, I snap a picture in my client and they're like after photo, but the work to get there is no joke. It's a lot of work, and I rarely look all done up because my clothes would just be trashed. And but I did want to piggyback on what you said, is even when you're out and about, you kind of have to have a life's goal. So maybe some home staging real estate agents out there, or whatever your current goal is to find a husband, you want to kind of dress to attract every single opportunity that the universe is going to throw at you. So even though your job may not be, you don't need to walk in around in heels all day, you're still going to want to look somewhat fashionable because you're in staging a home, interior design. So you're not going to want to have your state of dress reflect, even though you may be a brilliant home staging designer. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like we have a saying, I think, in the industry is like you have to stage the stager in a way because there are clients going to come by during
Mm-hmm.
during the process of styling, and then you can't look super grubby. You still have to kind of present yourself and build that trust for you, and that's why like I'm a big advocate about making sure your website looks great, make sure your branding looks strong, because that's
Yes.
really how you book clients. Especially in our line of work, we don't have a store. And the best way for people to judge you is really by your body of work, your portfolio, and your website.
Right. And it's ever changing. I mean, I just did a redo on my website and I have a book right now, Ultimate Guide to Style from Drab to Fab. And we put out the book probably, oh my gosh, I'm so bad with dates and numbers, as you can tell, in 2012. So it's been about 3 years. And I've changed as a person, I've changed as a stylist, as a wardrobe stylist. And I've gotten different and better. So I actually want to redo not the content of the book, because the content of the book is still freaking fantastic, but
Hmm.
the outside cover, and I don't know if you can kind of associate this, it's pink and purple and it's cartoons. So I feel now looking back on how we design it, it's geared more towards the early 20s teens era rather than a chic woman maybe in the late 20s 30s. It's kind of going on transition like for work, job, and a little bit more modern. So I'm sure, do you come across that when you're staging a home as well? Like you're not going to be decorating a man's office in pink or something, right?
Yeah, I think with staging, it has to be fairly gender neutral because you never know who's gonna come through the home. And I love that you talk about how you have evolved as a stylist and as a person. And I feel like that's very much true with clients and with ourselves. Like I found that like my staging capability definitely has grown in the past 10
Mm-hmm.
years. And I find myself changing as well, just like you said. And so, how do you work with your clients to help them find a personal style? Because, like we said, like it is going to change.
Right. So it really depends. So I have a personal style quiz that is actually on my website that if you go to stylebyrain.com, you can go ahead and take it to get a brief idea of what you are. But usually I can find out by asking a few questions. So it would be what celebrity do you admire? What would you never be caught dead wearing? What is your go-to outfit? So there's a standard of questions that I'll be able to know right away. But if you're just beginning in fashion or kind of trying to weed your way through it, it's what brings you joy and what makes you happy and what makes you feel most confident. So once you take the test, you'll be either one of the five personal style types.
That's so interesting. And but have you had clients where they pick a celebrity and you look at them, you're like, this totally doesn't go together? Like, have you ever had that happen?
Oh, absolutely. Well, usually they know. So sometimes they'll say, okay, I really admire Lady Gaga's outfits and her, grandiose dress, but you're really not going to wear that in an everyday style.
Hmm.
And then also depends on your body shape. So it's really about the person and are they an introvert? Are they an extrovert? So if they're a little bit more quieter and introverted, they're probably going to be more of a minimalist dresser and they're going to feel uncomfortable in, let's say, head to toe leopard print or a very bright pink jumpsuit or something.
That's really cool. That's really good to know. And I want to ask you actually specifically, how do you work with colors and patterns when you're working with clients?
Color is the end all be all. If you're not going to change your style, then at least get your colors done.
Hmm.
And this was a little bit popular in the 1990s. It's kind of like an old fashioned image consultant way to do the drapes. But when I was trained, it changed my life. I used to wear a lot of black. So I'm a rock and roll chick. I used to have piercings and different colored hair. So even when I grew up and grew out of it, I'm still geared towards more the edgier type styles.
Hmm.
So when I saw myself dressed in black when the consultant was draping me, my under eyes came out. It really just took away from my face and it showed all my flaws. So when I got my colors done, it really just changed. And it doesn't mean necessarily I can never wear black or you can't wear certain colors. It just means that try to dress like a scarf in your color palette can make you look like you actually have makeup on, even though you just tied it back and you're not wearing any. It just really changed my life.
That's really cool. And then how about patterns?
Patterns to me depends on the type of body frame and personality as well. So if you have a medium size body frame, you're going to want to go with medium sized patterns. So for example, if you're petite and you're 5'2" and very thin and you wear something is huge and overpowering, then the dress is going to overtake your personality. And I don't want that to happen as a personal stylist. I want you to come first. I want you to shine. I don't want your wardrobe to kind of complement and enhance your qualities rather than overtake you.
That's really cool. And then is there like a universal pattern that just looks great on everybody, or is it pretty much it really depends on your body's constitution?
I would say it really kind of depends on your personal style and attitude again.
Okay.
And there's certain patterns that will always be in style. Like you're always going to see leopard print come in and out. You're always going to see houndstooth come in and out. Zebra print has been around since 1950. So so there's always going to be a little bit elements of animal print and houndstooth, but then again, and polka dots as well. And it just depends on, again, your personal style and how you feel about in those prints.
That's awesome. I think mixing print is such a big it's such an art to it. I mean, there's people who mix prints very, very well, and there's people who they wear all these different patterns and just look like a color. It just looks like a palette threw up on them.
Right.
Like so. No, it's true because sometimes you're just like, oh, that looks really chic. I mean, like for example, Vivienne Westwood. I mean, like her stuff looks amazing, right? But it's very calculated and it's very designed. So
Right.
it's not like she just threw patterns together. But I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, I like this and I like that, I like this. And they just wear it all at the same time. There's no editing, there's kind of no thought process. So do you have any recommendation when people really love patterns, for example, and how to help them to edit that?
I would say if you're going to do head to toe pattern, that the patterns, the colors in the patterns are complementary to each other and they're kind of in the same family.
Mm. So there's like a common thread. Because I asked this question because we run into this a lot where people love accent pillow, they love patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So their whole entire couch is this wide array of colors and patterns. And yeah, so that's why I'm always asking this type of question because I want to see how other people in other discipline approach that. So I think that's a great idea.
How do you approach it when you do a bunch of because when I see that done, there's some kind of, like you said, a common thread that's kind of underlined throughout, whether it's in the same color family, jewel tones, or is it pastels, or is it opposite sides of the spectrum where you have shades, monochromatic shades of the same color?
Yeah, I think it depends. It depends on color palette. If it's like a very soft color palette, I think the tolerance for that usually is much higher compared to you have very like strong colors all thrown together. And the other thing
Mm-hmm.
too, you mentioned actually is, like medium size, different sizes. So, right? Like for example, if you upholster a chair in a pattern, you usually want to do a pretty big pattern so it doesn't look
Right,
super busy, right? And
right.
then for the accent chairs, for example, you want to put a pillow or throw on it. Then so your pillows can have like the smallest pattern because it has a smaller surface area. So and then usually I would recommend some sort of solid to kind of break it all up because when
Yes.
you're looking at a photo, I'm sure you can speak to this probably better than I do. But when you look at a person or a photo, your eye has to rest somewhere, right? Usually it needs to be the focal point of whatever you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at. So, for example, if you're looking in a living room, the focal point should be either the seating area or, the fireplace. Like your eye needs to rest somewhere. So, your overall design scheme has to really accentuate your purpose. So, I, it's probably, I'm assuming it's similar with a woman, like you want to accentuate the best part of your body that you want to showcase.
Right. And kind of like how you were talking about home staging, there's parts that you want to accentuate and draw attention to. And then there's maybe your least favorite parts that you're just like, I'm not going to bring attention to those. And that again comes to body shape. So if you're, for example, bigger on top and you want to minimize the bigger top, then you're going to want to do solid, darker colors on the top and then maybe lighter in the patterns on the bottom.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And also, if you do head to toe pattern, I would prefer a solid nude shoe. So, like you said, your eye just doesn't want to go all over the place.
Otherwise, it's too much. Like it really is a lot. And I
Right.
love animal prints, and I find that like I've seen like for example Victoria Beckham. I think she had these dresses where it's like one solid color. Maybe it's not Victoria
Mhm.
Beckham, but she does mostly solids. But I've seen these leopard print dresses. They're A-line, very beautiful. And the accessory of it, it's so simple. It's like a belt, a nude shoe. It just looks very classic and elegant. Whereas if I seen people head to toe animal print, that's really a lot for someone to take that in visually.
Right. It's so funny. So I was watching Fashion Police last night,
Oh, you did?
and yes, and Nicki Minaj.
Oh,
For those of you who
really?
don't know who she is, she's a rapper, and she's just very flamboyant and extroverted, and she always wears crazy styles, wigs, and she wore head to toe leopard print. It was a beautiful dress, and then she had the shawl kind of jacket over that was leopard print, and she just pulled her hair back in a bun, and she looked so good and she worked it. But that, again, that's like her personality. She's over the
Yeah.
top. So if you were to try to pull off that style, and let's say you were like, I don't know, Reese Witherspoon, you look like you were trying too hard because everybody knows her as like the sweet girl next door. So they're not going to put her in something that's head to toe leopard print and she's going to look silly in it, rather than someone that's extroverted, over the top, and wants to showcase off the dress and wants to make a fashion statement rather than just complement their everyday lifestyle and their body. Do you see the difference?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it really has to do with your core value. Like if your personality is very loud. I mean, Lady Gaga, for example, she can pull off a meat dress. There's no way I can do that. That's not, I mean, just not, there's not a whole lot of people in the world can wear a dress made out of meat and like
Okay,
really
let's
work
be
it.
serious. Do you really think I don't think she pulled off that dress. Yes, she can definitely get away with wearing a meat dress, but again, in everyday lifestyle, that's not going to happen. And
No.
either, if I showed up or someone showed to work in head to toe leopard print, I mean, you would probably be sent home from the principal's office.
I know it's kind of funny because I follow BuzzFeed and they always do these posts. It's like I dressed like Kim Kardashian for a week and this is what happened. Or I remember they did this shoot where because remember like I think it was the Met Gala this year. A lot of people wear these nude dress,
Mm-hmm.
and so a woman from their editorial team wore it, and she's like on the subway.
Oh my
Wearing a
goodness.
nude dress and then like walking on a subway and then walking down the street. I mean, it's pretty insane. But yeah, I think definitely when you approach your own styling, it definitely, yeah, it has to do with your comfort level as well as your
Right.
personality. Yeah.
And it is good to get out of your comfort level, which when people hire me, that's mostly what I do. I kind of push them, but along the way and along the transition, their eye and their perception of what looks good on them starts to change. Because you always say you don't see yourself the way the world sees you. So you may
Right.
look at a house and kind of see the potential and the beauty, or the room and the potential, the beauty, even though it's completely bare. And that's how it kind of works for me. So even someone may be in sweats or just jeans and a t-shirt, I look at them and I automatically see all the different potential that they possess as a human being, and different kind of situations and personality types and messages that they can send out.
I love that. And then I want to ask more question about your drab to fab because I'm really curious. So like say when you're meeting a client and she's in the drab phase, so how do you take her from drab to fab?
It's definitely a process. The usual process is I go into their closets, which we would start with the closet audit, and I say, okay, show me your favorite date outfit. Show me your favorite everyday clothing. Show me your favorite work outfit, depending on where they want to focus. The head to toe makeovers, make them show me all their outfits, and then we start to do a closet audit after I do a color analysis on them. So once we know their color palette, then I start go briefly through all the closet once, and I pull out everything that's just like, no way, we cannot save this. And then from there, it's organized like a boutique. So when you walk into your closet or you open the closet door, you actually like what you see and you can see it. So if you want to throw on some jeans, then you're going to have a certain amount of shirts in different colors or whatever that's going to match that. And you're going to know exactly where it is. So you're not going to get stressed out. You're not going to just be frantic or just throw on any old thing because you don't know what to wear. Once the closet is done, we do a shopping list. So I always start with the basics, which is A pair of slacks, a pencil skirt, a blazer, a button up, and some cotton t-shirts and a statement necklace if it's for a woman. And again, this all depends on their career goals, their life goals, and we kind of start from there. And then from there, we take them shopping. And I set up this, I do by myself. I set up a VIP room and I'll just scour the store. I'll pull like a lot of stuff and I set it all up nice for them. They show up. And then we start trial and error. And then they really start to see what works for their body shape, their coloring. They start to see themselves in a new light. Now, again, this doesn't just happen overnight. I had one client that was kind of fighting me. She's like, I just don't see myself in this shirt. And literally the next day she sent me a text. She's like, oh my gosh, I got so many compliments. You were right. I said, I know I'm right.
That's so funny.
But usually when, they can see it, which is, I'm sure when you're home staging, if I walk into a room and it's fantastically designed, I don't care how much education I have in design, I'm going to see how nice it looks put together. So it's the same thing when it comes to your personal style and dressing. You don't need to have any education, but once I start putting you in stuff through my education, through my trial and error, which is like home staging, you walk into a blank place and you know what to do. My people are my blank canvas. And so when I put different styles on them, their eyes start to change. And sometimes, which you can do as well, is take a photo of yourself because it allows you to see yourself through a different portion, allows you to see yourself through other people's eyes rather than we look at ourselves. We tend to focus on our one flaw that really bugs us and we can't even see anything else rather than seeing ourselves as a whole, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. And actually, we just started an online self-paced course on home staging, and I actually teach the same thing. Like I said, in your process of staging your home, take a picture, take a before picture, and then see what are some of the areas you need to work on, and then during the process, take more pictures because it's gonna help you to see how the buyers will see the house. Most people nowadays shop for homes online first, so it's really important for them to look for the house to look great on the photographs.
Right.
And yeah, I really like that idea too. And I think that's a great idea to apply that for fashion styling.
Yes, photos, it really helps when I take a photo of them and then I point stuff out. I'll say, "Hey, look how you're creating a waist here. See how longer your legs look. See how you look in this black shirt." And then we put you in a color, and when your colors from the color palette, do you see how your hair looks brighter, your eyes looks brighter, your skin looks brighter? So it really your eye and your perception starts to change of yourself.
That's awesome. And then how do
Yeah.
you work with your clients on color palette? Because it's not, because remember, is it like in the 80s where they have like the summer and the autumn?
Yes. And oh my gosh, I swear it still works. That's why I said it's kind of old fashioned, but I bring my drapes to their house and I set them up in the bathroom. We turn on the lights, we open the windows so they have the best lighting, and I
Okay.
start to drape them. And really it's old school, but it works. And even if you don't have drapes at your house, take Google color palettes online. And then you can even just drape yourself with a black t-shirt and start draping yourself with certain colors in your wardrobe, and you can really start to see the difference.
That's really cool because like I think I've read that when our human eyes look at colors is relative to the color next to each other. So that makes sense. Like say if I wear a black t-shirt versus a white t-shirt, my face might look darker or brighter just because the color contrast.
Right. And just so you know, you're a winter color palette. I already did yours by looking at your photo.
Are you serious? I'm a winter?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. So that just means that you're going to look better in stark colors, solid colors, because you have really dark hair and
Yeah.
really dark eyes. So you're going to want to kind of match that with your style. So yes, black is going to look great on you, but so will a bright purple or a saturated pink or a saturated red. And maybe you're not into those certain colors, but you can find a way to add a little bit of color. For example, when you walk down the street and you look at a garden, you're not going to say, "Oh my gosh, look at those beautiful brown weeds." You're going to say, "Wow, that is a beautiful violet. That's a beautiful rose. Wow, look at that yellow, I don't know, yellow rose over that way." So it's just color is just little pops of happiness.
That's awesome. I love that because I love pops of color when I do styling. And I'm glad you said I'm a winter because I own mostly black and grays in my closet.
Yes.
And the only strong color I have usually, I have a bit of mustard yellow. I don't know why. I like that color. And then I wear a lot of fuchsia if I do wear colors in like
Fuchsia is
more,
definitely in your
yeah.
color palette.
Yeah, I do have dresses in fuchsia colors when I have to go to more serious events.
Yes, and it's an easy way to do this. All you do is put color analysis test, pop it in Google, and then certain sites will come up and you can actually do your color palette online. And then you can kind of see the difference and you can download it. You can just kind of download one of the photos onto your phone. So then when you shop, you can say, I'm going to go to the mall just for a color test and pull different colors in blouses and shirts and drape yourself in the dressing room, and you will definitely start to see a difference.
That's amazing. That's such a good tip. Oh my God, I'm learning so much just from chatting with you today. That's amazing.
Yay!
Yay! That's exciting. And then, so I want to, like, you talk about lighting. So I want to touch on that really quickly. So when you drape your clients, you usually do them in natural lighting, or do you do it in like, because you said bathroom, right? So usually it's kind of like a yellow tint light.
I try to do it in natural lighting, so that's why I'll open up the windows because you get
Okay.
the natural sunlight.
Yeah, it's the same thing too when we tell clients to pick paint colors. You always want to see it in natural light. Because
Yes.
artificial light really, it will change the tone of the colors.
Yes, and that happens so much when, sometimes you'll get dressed before the sun comes out or something, and then the sun will come out and you're like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking?
And I also do want to ask you about TV appearances. I'm sure, because this is in your bio, I'm sure listeners would be curious about your TV background. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that, like working TV?
Sure. I'm definitely more of a personal, and I like to call myself a motivational stylist rather than a fashion stylist. So the difference is the personal stylist tends to focus on the individual and their life goals and their career and accentuating them, rather than TV. It's all about creating a mood and a message and kind of
Mm-hmm.
showcasing the wardrobe for editorial. So for example, if you're going to style a drama, when you watch the drama, they're all going to be in kind of blues, grays. They're not going to be in super bright colors because it's more dramatic. And
Mm-hmm.
if you watch a comedy, you're going to find bright greens, bright purples, all these happy colors because it means comedy equals over the top and happiness. And that kind of just goes across the board. That's why I just prefer, and it's more of fashion styling for TV. It's more of just a machine and an animal. It was so much work and it takes so much organization that it just blew my mind. And that's why I definitely geared towards more motivational personal styling.
Yeah. No, I have friends who work in that area. Like I have a friend who does she does wardrobe styling for this crime show on television. And then so
Mm-hmm.
like someone's wearing Goodwill. Like I will look for like props and she's looking for clothes. She'll be like, oh great, I found three the same blue shirt. Because you know how when they get killed on television, I mean they don't have budget to like have them professionally laundered. So like she has to buy three blue shirts so they can like change that out. It's just kind
Yes,
of the fascinating part. It is a bit like a machine.
it is. And that's why, and it's a lot of shopping and returns and FedExing and stuff like that. So I'm definitely not great. I can go in any closet and organize the SHIT out of it. And I like to go one-on-one with people and workshop groups. But when it came to that, I was just so over FedExing and taping stuff and marking stuff up with the numbers. It just was not a great time for me. And it was just a great learning experience. And that's why I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to stick with the people.
That's
And
awesome.
more about personal styling. It's all about making the producers and the overall show. So when you're doing TV, fashion for TV, you have to get it approved by the producers. You have to see what
Right.
the
Hmm.
other characters are wearing, because most characters have their own stylist, and then they all kind of come together in the end, the bigger budget films. And it's just a whole new animal. I'm like, I like my matchmaking clients, and it's just it's a different job.
It's a different environment because I work on set time to time, and I remember we had this crazy shoot, and our director was like, I mean, there's a lot, but this art director was like, I like this cup. I like the shape of it, but I want it to be a shade bluer. And we're already on
Yes.
set, like, everybody, it's basically you're just burning money at this point, right? But they're a big technology company, I don't care. So like, yeah,
Mhm.
four assistants went out to look for the same cup, but like a shade bluer last minute. It
No,
just that
that's
kind of stuff just
exactly it's I swear to God, and that's why I was like, peace out, because every experience is different, and no, not all stars are going to be like a certain way, but literally we would dress one person this way, and she or he would agree on that outfit, and then the next day she wouldn't want to wear it, so we would then have to start from scratch and
right.
pull
Yeah.
different looks, go get the wardrobe okayed from the producers, and at this point, I was assisting a celebrity stylist. So here I am, 32 years old, an assistant, having to get someone's flip flops, and I was like, okay, I was
That's
like,
it. Yeah.
there's a reason why there's 21-year-olds. You start as an assistant when you're 21, and that's when I kind of knew TV styling was just not for me, and I like to focus on individuals.
I feel the same way. I feel like once you taste the freedom,
Yeah,
it's
I like to
hard.
be the
It's hard.
boss.
It takes a lot of humility and a lot of patience, and actually there are a lot of BS on set and a lot of politics for sure. So I don't blame you. And I think that's great that you have found the type of styling that you really respond to and really help your clients with it. And I think that's amazing.
And it's funny because for me, it's really not about, even when I was watching Fashion Police last night, they're so into labels and
Yeah.
designers and this and that. And guaranteed, I love me some labels. I love me some designers. But what makes me happy is the smile on the person's face that, maybe she didn't have any confidence for 10 years and she sends me a long email telling me how many compliments she get. Like, to me, that's what makes it all worthwhile. It's not about showcasing one's dress. I'm just such a people person that it's all about that person and individuals. That's why I don't care. I'll put you in labels or I'll put you in something trendy. It's all about mix and matching from Nordstrom's Rack to Neiman's Marcus.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because I encounter similar, I don't want to say feedback, but similar criticism in a way. Like people are like, "Oh, are you using IKEA stuff?" I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
I do buy props from IKEA. Like they have great little vases that look really awesome. They don't look, the typical IKEA-ish. I mean, obviously for staging, I wouldn't use IKEA furniture unless it's for a kid's room. But
Right.
I do feel like I mean, I feel like some of the stuff you can find things that look like $1 million or look like a really, from a designer store.
Mm-hmm.
Even from lines from Target. I mean, Target Threshold, I love that line. Their home goods are really on point. So you don't really have to like spend a lot of money just so like your house looks all like designer labeled. Same thing with your
Right.
closet. It just reminds me of that movie Fight Club in the 90s in the beginning where Edward Norton walked into his house. I don't know if you've seen that movie,
I
but
have, but I haven't seen it for years. Okay, so tell me what it's about.
remember
I mean,
in the
tell me the
beginning when
scene.
he walked, like he was obsessed with the IKEA life, right? Like he was obsessed
Mm-hmm.
buying IKEA furniture. So like in the beginning of the shot, when he walked into his own apartment, there was like literally like IKEA names popping up like on the individual furniture and stuff like that. It was just like really fascinating. But that was kind of like the director's commentary in the 90s that because everyone was like very label driven, I think
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning 90s. I think we're definitely dating ourselves on this,
Yeah.
but yeah, but that's a lot. And I actually see some movement now. It's that have you heard this thing where now all these women are doing so they are editing their closet down to 33 articles of clothing in their
Mm-hmm.
closets, and so they basically each season they go through their closet and they only pick 33 things that they wear all the time, and that's all they commit to wear for that season really. And so
Yes.
in a way it cuts down a lot of clutter and unnecessary clothes. At first, when I heard it, I was like, 33 items? That doesn't seem like a lot. But then I thought about it. In my daily life, I wear the same 5 t-shirts and then the same
Mm-hmm.
2 pairs of jeans. So that makes total sense.
Yes, it's actually a family of capsule dressing, which is also done by three colors. So I like to do, usually when I shop for a new person, it's usually within 3 to 4 colors that you can intermatch everything. And then the thing with the 33 items is most people only wear 20% of the closet. So I think that's
Hmm.
where that came from. So once you have it narrowed down, the choices are just so much simpler and easy because you don't have all this other stuff that you're not wearing right in front of you.
That makes sense. I remember in middle school, I had to wear uniform to school, and it was actually the easiest thing ever because you already know what you have to wear every day.
Right,
It was like a no-brainer.
right. One of my clients was a nurse, so every day she had scrubs on. And then when she retired, she wanted to she's like, I have no idea. I don't even own a pair of jeans. I have no idea what to wear. And it was just really fun because it was kind of like starting from scratch.
Yeah, and I actually heard that same thing with Steve Jobs. That's why he always wear a black turtleneck because he doesn't want to waste his brain on deciding what he needs to wear that day.
Right. But for the record, before he came up with that black turtleneck, Isaac Mizrahi, I always say his name wrong, he actually designed it for him. So even though it didn't look calculated, he's so calculated wearing that turtleneck and jeans and tennis shoes every single day. Because yes, I'm sure he didn't want to think about what to wear, but it was also branding himself, which he was really great at.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's a really good backstory. I did not know that. That's pretty
Yes,
cool.
it was very, very meticulously created. And it was only created after he was going to try to get everybody at Apple to wear some like crazy orange vest or something strange. And everybody was like, no way, we're not wearing this. And so that's where the turtleneck came from. And he got Isaac Mizrahi, which is one of the best designers ever, to design him his turtlenecks.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would love to see that orange vest.
I have a feeling you didn't hang on to it.
Can you imagine? Everyone in the office wears a freaking orange vest.
Okay, but don't quote me. I'm not. My memory is like kind of blown, but it is that it was like it was either reflective vest or orange vest or some crazy piece that just didn't work.
That's pretty fascinating.
Yes, yes.
Huh. I wonder why they picked orange.
I have, I mean, I have no idea, but it's also interesting because men can definitely get away with wearing just the same pair of jeans and the same shirt and kind of intermixing it out like that. But you don't see Oprah doing that or Mrs. Obama doing that or who Hillary Clinton or I don't know, Lindsay Lohan, whoever your kind of style is. So when it comes to women, you definitely have to learn how to change it more often rather than men.
Yeah, I agree with that because I freelance for Banana Republic sometimes. They're based in Bay Area and
Mhm.
they do work in their photo shoot studio. And I remember our director made this comment about how men's fashion hasn't really changed since the 1920s. And
Right.
a lot of pattern, a lot of fabric, a lot of details really hasn't changed significantly, unlike women's fashion. I thought that was very interesting.
Right. So men's fashion obviously is going to be more simpler and the cut may change a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
And obviously, no more pleats, thank God. I always say that. But besides the certain cuts, a suit is a suit. It's just all about the cut to make sure it doesn't look old and it's still updated. And the slim leg, kind of tapered leg is really in right now. So it's all about the fit. And if the suit fits great, it's really going to last you, 5 to 10 years.
That's awesome. And then I have a question about organizing the closet. So, are there any tools that you use? Because I know there's a big trend to use closet organizers.
Mm-hmm.
There are also I've heard stylists they recommend color blocking their closets, like put all black in one row and whatever. Like, so what are
Mm-hmm.
some of the techniques that you use for your own clients?
It really depends on what they prefer. So it's either going to be organized by light to dark or some like to do dark to light. And then it's usually tank top, short sleeves, long sleeves. And then you would do it by color. Some prefer to do not just long sleeve, but they say, okay, I want all my casual stuff to be here and I want all my work clothes to be here. Because literally some women and some men, they're like not even, they're dressing two different lives. They have the casual laid back on the weekends and then they're very head to toe work outfits on the weekdays. So they want that in two separate areas. And then you would do it by color as well, going from tank top, short sleeve, long sleeve. And then I would go, and you also want to organize it the way that you would get dressed. So first you're going to put your pants, then you're going to put your blouses and your tank tops, and then you're going to do the blazers. And then you would kind of throw the dresses on the back of the blazers. So that's a separate entity, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense, actually. That makes a lot of sense. You will organize your closet the way you dress.
Yes, and of course by color, and it just depends on how many blocks you want out of there.
That's so cool. Yeah, I never think about it. My closet, it's kind of a mess. I basically just chuck whatever in, and I always wonder if there's a more efficient way to organize it. But that makes a lot of sense.
And another tip that you definitely will save you so much time, which I'm really bad at this, but I have to force myself to do it because I really want to practice what I preach. But it's one of the things I can't stand is putting everything back in a wearable condition. So what happens is you're going to wash that button-up shirt, or, you know, I wear a lot of chambray shirts, but 3 of them that I wear, they have to be ironed before I put them back. Or if I put them back in there and they're wrinkly, I'm not going to wear it, and I don't want to take out the time, whatever it takes to get ready during the day. So I really try, and I always try to teach this to people, is put everything back in a wearable condition. So you can just grab it and put it on and go.
That makes total sense. And how often do you recommend clients to clean out their closet?
Every few months.
Oh, really? That soon?
Yeah, usually I would say professionally at least get it once done so you know what to start with. And then every season kind of say, okay, what didn't I wear this season? Let's toss this. Am I really going to wear this into next season? Okay, how does it look? Maybe you wore this certain shirt a lot during the season, so you're probably going to want to replace that certain item.
Oh, I see. Okay. That makes total sense. So I know we're coming up on a time here, and I want to respect your time. And so I want to ask you, what is the one tip you always give to homeowners when it comes to organizing or styling their closets or themselves?
The one tip is you want to organize and style your closet like a boutique so you feel sexy getting dressed every single day.
I love that. That's great. So thank you
you'll
so
feel
much.
like a star.
Yeah, no,
You're welcome.
do.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I can't tell you how appreciative you're on the show. And before you leave, do you want to talk about some of the projects that might be coming up for you and where people can find you?
You can find me at stylebyRayne.com. My book is on Amazon. It's called Ultimate Guide to Style from Drab to Fab. And you can sign up for my monthly Rayne checks, which is also on my website. And you can say, hello, Cindy sent you. And I look forward to meeting you.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye, Cindy. Thank you for having me.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye. So that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and rating on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. As usual, feel free to ask any questions on the show notes or on our private Facebook group. You can find the show notes by going to www.stagemore.com/podcast. Or just find a private face group by typing in the Home Staging Show in the search box. That's it. Have a wonderful week and happy staging!